welcome back. I watched Atlantis The Lost Empire from 2001, a movie with interesting ideas, but uneven execution. Atlantis The Lost Empire is one of those movies that I always want to like more than I actually do. I've seen it a couple of times, but yeah, it has some cool ideas, a strong visual identity for sure, and a different tone from most Disney films. But when you sit down and watch it, it ends up feeling pretty average. So for me, this lands at a 5 out of 10. It's not bad, it's not good, it just kind of is. The premise is really solid. We have Milo Tetch, who is a linguist and historian who believes that Atlantis is real. Nobody takes him seriously until he's suddenly recruited for an expedition to find the lost city. From there, the movie turns into a straight up adventure submarines, ancient ruins, danger, and discovery. And honestly, the opening stretch is one of the movie's stronger parts. The submarine journey is tense and visually interesting. The Leviathan attack, for instance, where the massive mechanical creature destroys the sub, it's a standout sequence. It's dark, it's chaotic, and surprisingly intense for a Disney movie. The whole section really sells the idea that this is going to be a more action driven movie than a serious movie. Visually, the movie is very distinctive. The angular character designs, well, it's something you have to get used to. It's not my favorite part of the design, but, you know, I, yeah, it's so. The machinery is cool. It has somewhat of that steampunk ancient tech design. I like it. And when the crew finally arrives in Atlantis and you see the glowing crystals and the architecture and the underwater ruins, it genuinely feels like a different world. That sense of discovery, it really works. But that's also where some of the problems start. Once Atlantis is revealed, the movie suddenly rushes forward. We're introduced to Kida and the Atlanteans. We're told about their culture, their language, their history, and then immediately pushed toward the conflict. Scenes that should feel well meaningful, like Milo bonding with Kida or learning about the city, well, they are skimmed over instead of being explored, which is a missed opportunity, if you ask me. The supporting characters are fun here and there, but they're very one note. The demolition guy, well, he blows things up. The mechanic, he fixes things. The doctor, he just makes inappropriate jokes. They're entertaining in small doses, but they don't really ever grow or change that much. They feel more like a checklist of personalities than fully fleshed out, fully developed characters. Once again, missed opportunity, I think. The biggest issue for me is the emotional core of this movie. Milo is likable enough, but he is fairly flat. His big arc from, going from overlooked academic to confident hero, it happens mostly because the plot says it should happen, and there aren't many moments where you really feel his internal struggle, for instance. Even the scenes where he finally gets validation for his knowledge, it feels oddly muted. It feels kind of dull. So, yeah, his, rise to being a hero, it doesn't feel really earned. And then there's the villain. We have Commander Rourke's betrayal that happens quickly and without much build-up. One moment he's the leader of the expedition, and the next he's openly ruthless and power-hungry. The shift isn't shocking, but more abrupt, and it also is a little bit confusing. It feels like the movie needed a bad guy and didn't want to spend the time developing him. Once again, we have a missed opportunity. The climax of the movie is visually really impressive, but emotionally thin. The crystal energy, Kira floating into the air, the final confrontation, it all looks cool, but it doesn't hit very hard, or at least not hard enough, I think. When things resolve and Atlantis is saved, it feels more like checking boxes than delivering a payoff. To the movie's credit, it commits to the tone. I liked it. There is no music, or at least there are no musical numbers breaking the immersion of the movie. It sticks to being an adventure movie. It sticks to being an adventure film, which I totally respect. It just never quite balances its ambition with execution. By the end, Atlantis feels like a movie full of good ingredients that never quite come together. The world is interesting, it feels interesting, it looks interesting. The style, it is unique. Some of the scenes are genuinely cool, pretty awesome, really. But the characters are extremely underdeveloped, and the pacing feels rushed, and definitely in the later part of the movie after Atlantis is discovered. And the emotional weight, it never really lands. It's really dull, it's really flat. So, yeah. For me, that lands at a 5 out of 10. This movie isn't terrible, but it's definitely not memorable. I would say this movie is a solid so-so movie with ideas that deserved more room to breathe. But that's just my take on the movie. That's just my view. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was useful. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.